What's up, everybody? Welcome to AYS Fight Club, episode 16. Rolling along, I'm one of your hosts, Matt Bricker. Be flying solo tonight. Daniel Dees is taking the night off, but he'll be back next week. Episode 17, we'll get some things rolling. Tonight, quick episode. We'll just talk about some events that are coming up. Bare Knuckle is actually going right now. I'm about to start the main card of their event, and then got some UFC on tomorrow. So we'll just hit some of those things. PFL released majority of their roster for their 2021 season. So we'll hit some of those new names coming out, hit a couple things here or there. Quick show in and out tonight, and Daniel needs to be back next week where we can really get hard on some topics. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about PFL real quick. They are rolling along, big names for 2021 joining on here. Got the site up here. We'll hit some of the divisions that they just announced. For welterweight, some of the big names they have: Ray Cooper, who's been around for a couple seasons now. Rory McDonald added to the mix, which is going to be an amazing, chance for Rory to get some PFL gold. Also, they got about 7 names left, so it looks like they got 3 more to fill out. Jumping over to the light heavyweight division, Chris Camozzi, former UFC fighter, also Filthy Tom Lawler, who's in the UFC. He's also a part of MLW Wrestling. He's been doing the pro wrestling scene for a little while now. Looks like he's going to jump in here and try to get his chance for $1 million. Jordan Young, very talented fighter from American Top Team, was in Bellator for a while. So he's got a real solid shot at winning this as well. Let's jump over here to the lightweight division. A couple of the new names. Biggest name, obviously, probably biggest name to the season, along with Rory, is Anthony Pettis. Out of the UFC, testing the waters here, coming over the PFL. Oliver Oben Mercier is also in that pool there. Johnny Case, Merson Hale from out of Poland. A very solid lightweight division. Featherweight, returning champion Lance Palmer. Bubba Jenkins in the mix with him. Looks like they got a couple more spots to fill out there. But, man, coming along real nice so far. The rest of the divisions haven't been heavyweight roster yet. But we'll cover all those a little bit more in depth. But just throwing some of those names out there, there's definitely something with PFL to keep an eye out for. That $1 million, they took the time off with that price is a lot of the names. There's some seal over there. They've really hitched their wagon to her as far as a women's division. So we'll go ahead and next we'll jump over to the UFC. We have it's going to be UFC Vegas 18 is the official name of it. It's Overeem versus Volkov. So we'll hit some of the main card bouts. First, we got Diego Ferreira and Beneil Dariush, which is going to be an amazing fight. They're fighting at lightweight 155. The two have fought before. It was several years back, and Dariush got the win, but that was several years back. Diego Ferreira has looked really good here lately, especially since he lost back-to-back fights. After that, Dariush, he lost to Poirier. So, there's no shame in losing those two names. Dariush and Poirier, that was in 2014 and 15. So since then, he's been rolling along pretty good. He's got 6 fights straight wins, and his last one was a submission win over Anthony Pettis. So he's rolling along really well here lately. 36 years old, but he's been looking good here lately. Dariush, been around for a while. Another veteran aged fighter. He's only 31, but he's been around for a while. He's on a pretty good winning streak too. He's on winning 5 in a row. So you got 2 guys that are really hot right now in the lightweight division. So whoever wins is the big for one to step up in the lightweight division. Definitely the toughest division right now to make headway in. And then also we got Cody Stamann and Askar. Cody Stamann had an opponent change, supposed to fight Andrew Ewell. But Ewell had some medical, I think it was COVID related. But he had some medical he had to pull out. Askar was placed in about a week ago. So, it's going to be like 10 days notice from the time he found out till actually fight night tomorrow. But Stamann definitely, at the top of the featherweight division. A tough guy. He was in there with Aljamain Sterling. He lost that one, but since then, he's been rolling pretty good. He lost his last outing against Jimmy Rivera. But this Askar fight, a chance for him to rebound. Who Askar's making his debut in the UFC on really late notice. That's always a tough situation to come into. It's either one extreme really good, or one extreme really bad. So you just kind of got to, it's really a coin toss. He's coming off of an LFA win in October. So we'll see. That's always hit or miss. You just never know how some of these guys are going to come in on late notice. Some of them, it's all of them. It's their big opportunity, but some of them, they approach it different. So we'll just have to see. Cody Stamann is just a tough, grinding type fighter, which is really hard to put somebody like that away, which is what happens when these guys come in short notice. It's normally they, get a spectacular knockout, big submission. It's never really a grinding decision, that these guys get. And Stamann is not the guy, he's not going to go out easy. So that's going to make it tough. Another one that's really exciting at 120 in the flyweight is Pantoja. Alexandre Pantoja is taking on Manuel Cape, who fought for Ryzen for many, many, many bouts. So this is definitely going to be an exciting bout. Pantoja's lost 2 of his last 3. So he's coming in, a bit struggling. He only took 1 fight last year in 2020, lost to Askar Askarov, who is not the same as Askar, 2 totally different fighters. But Cape, he's been on a roll in Ryzen. So man, this is definitely a chance for him to come in, get a victory over a really high touted, flyweight. Cape has won his last 4 out of 5 in Ryzen. So he's been his last handful of bouts at Ryzen, which is, tough organization. And, their knockout wins. They're all last 3 are second round knockouts. So he's definitely got power. Definitely, I'm definitely going to look for Cape to take this one. Really excited to see him finally get in the UFC cage. And we can do it, he'll show, that you don't have to be considered one of the best in the world and have to be in the UFC. I think Pitbull said something about that with Michael Chandler winning. He's like, it really legitimizes me for beating Chandler over here in Bellator, never being in the UFC. So I think that's, what a lot of these guys are going to be able to show, that you don't have to be in the UFC to be one of the best in the world. You kind of come to the UFC to solidify yourself. But, a lot of these guys, they don't need to make their name in the UFC. They can make it elsewhere and then come legitimize themselves. Let's see, we got something from the boss here. Do you want to see a Dustin Conner trilogy? Yeah, if the time's right. I don't think the time is right now. I think there's so much going on. I don't see how you can legitimize Conner fighting for the title right now after just, being knocked out by Conner. If it was really close, it was maybe a split decision or something where you needed to run it back right now, I could definitely see that happening. But right now, no. There's too many other things they can do, especially with Chandler, with a hot debut. That really put a kink in a lot of things, that hot debut by Chandler. It really put him, in the talks for a lot of things. Oliveira is still on a run. He's saying he's not going to fight unless it's for a title. So, he's kind of at a stalwart there. So, we'll see. Gaethje's still up there. We kind of forgot about Gaethje. He just hasn't done anything, but he's still up there. So we kind of forget about that. There's a lot going on. I think it'll happen, but I think it's going to happen when the time is right. Jumping back over here to the UFC card. This fight was on the card, but it was just added to the main card like yesterday, because when I do the fantasy writers for Roto Baller, it was not a main card bout. So this one was just moved up. Michael Johnson and Clay Guida. So Michael Johnson is a highlight reel, knockout guy. He floored Poirier. He's got power in his hands. He's knocked out. He's wobbled Khabib. When I do think about Khabib getting, rocky or wobbled, I close my eyes and I always see Michael Johnson whenever he just nearly dropped Khabib. He had the wobble legs and he was almost out. He's lost his last 3 in a row, but anytime you have Michael Johnson in a fight, it's going to be an exciting fight. And the main around forever, 35-20, so he's going to go on his 56th pro bout. There's a lot of veterans on this card, a lot of guys in their 50s and 60s, professional bouts. Guida's kind of in that same spot. He's he's lost 2 of his last 3, and the bout he won was the BJ Penn. It's kind of been a train wreck the last several fights. He's lost like 6, 7 in a row. So that's not really something to really hang your hat. But both these guys are very aggressive fighters. It's going to be a train wreck right in the middle of the octagon. It's just going to see who can implement their will and pull out the victory on this one. But 2 veterans that are really going to put on a show. And that's all you can ask for. Our co-main event, we got Corey Hagan and Frankie Edgar, another 10-year veteran, been around forever. Corey Sandhagen, kind of that new generation, 28 years old, that new class of fighter coming up to ascend to the throne, to take over, the Edgars of the division. I mean, he's been on a roll. Sandhagen has been in the UFC since 2018. He has won 5 in a row before he lost to Sterling, but rebounded well from that. Got to beat Marlon Moraes in a second round wheel kick knockout. So really got rebounded well, and that's the big thing when they lose. When somebody loses in the UFC, how are they going to rebound? It's a big shock to the system when you're on that big stage under the bright lights and you take a loss. How are you going to rebound? How are you mentally going to recover from that? Some people don't. Let's talk about the Ronda Rousey example where she didn't rebound well from it. It pretty much ended her career taking a loss. Some people can come back from it and use it to learn from it, take what they can from it and move forward. And looks like that's what Sandhagen did. Definitely, a big win over Marlon Moraes. Frankie Edgar, been around several different weight divisions, testing himself out in the different weight divisions. Got a split decision last year in 2020 against Pedro Munoz. His only fight in 2020. Took a couple fights in 2019. He lost both of those. But he's getting up there in MMA mileage. He's 39. He'll be 40 in October. But a lot of tread on the MMA tires, so to speak, on that one. And then the main event is 2 guys that have been around, for a very long time. Got Alistair Overeem and Alexander Volkov, who Overeem is 40. He's actually on a pretty good streak right now. Last couple fights in a row. I think he's one he lost was to Rosenstruck when she was winning that fight, and he got caught there at the end of the 5th round, not too long to go, and that was it. But he was winning that fight, so it really could be 5 in a row. But so I mean, he's looked good. He's really kind of turned it around. 2020, he won both of his fights, both by knockout. So he's even said this last run, this is his last push. If he wants to get the UFC title, it's got to be right now. He can't afford any losses right now, and he knows that. He wants the title, and he knows that this is what he's got to do. He's got to push it. Volkov, he's got a little bit longer to go, but this is going to be his 41st pro appearance. So he's been in the cage a long time too. 32, but the MMA miles, like we like to talk about the MMA age. He lost to Curtis Blades in a decision, rebounded well in October. He beat Walt Harris. So, this is going to be a good clash. And I think Overeem's going to catch him here, though. I just, it's 2 veterans, what you like to see, 2 guys that have been around for a while. But I think Overeem's, gonna get this one. Also, right now we got bare knuckles going on. Knucklemania, BKFC is going on right now. See if we got any results right now. But in the main event is Paige Van Zandt making her bare knuckle debut. So we'll see how it goes. Saw it was pretty lively at the weigh-ins. So with her and Britain Hart, which is the main event. So I go Van Zandt. She's not closing the door on the MMA return, but she's 100% focused on bare knuckle right now. So that's where her thing lies for her right now as far as her focus. The co-main event is going to be an amazing fight, bantamweight title fight. Champion Johnny Bedford defending against Dat Nguyen. That's going to be an amazing fight there. Dat Nguyen, I think he's only had 1 fight in bare knuckle, but looked really good. Bedford's been around for a little while as far as bare knuckle goes. I think this is like their 16th event or something like that. He's been around for a little while. And that third bout, Chris Lieben, UFC veteran. Everybody knows Chris Lieben getting some bare knuckle action and near the top of the card. He's on one of the big pictures on the poster. So you headline. You a big name on the event against Quentin Henry, one of our AYS Fight Club members. Quentin was on the show a handful of weeks ago, just before this bout was officially announced. But he was. So that's definitely going to be good when he's from North Louisiana. Fought with AKA a lot in his MMA days. Now he's got doing the bare knuckle thing. He's loving that. He's sticking with that. So we'll see how it goes. Also Lorenzo Hunt out of Florida. Amazing talent to see at light heavyweight. He's getting in there. Don't see any results right now, but I know the prelim started at 7 and the main card is starting just not too long ago at 8 o'clock. So definitely got a lot going on with that. So, we'll just hit a couple more things here, get out of here early for everybody. But yeah, let's see what we got next for the UFC. We'll jump over into that. But yeah, like I said, the event tomorrow is Vegas 18, and then we have on February 13th, next weekend is UFC 258. It's about, everyone's really been excited for. It's finally here. It's kind of been pushed back a little bit. The Kamaru Usman Gilbert Burns for the welterweight title. 2 former teammates going at it. And it's good to see somebody like Gilbert Burns finally getting their shot at the title. It's kind of what we were hoping with, Charles Oliveira. He'll kind of hopefully get that same luck. But Gilbert Burns is, an amazing. He's probably one of the most dangerous jiu-jitsu guys in all the MMA. I mean, he's one of those guys that's really dangerous. Checking out the card here, we got Macy Barber and Alexa Grasso in the co-main event. Macy Barber is 8-1. That one is whenever she tore her ACL, I believe it was, in the Roxanne Modafferi fight. That was in January of last year. So it's going to be about a 13-month layoff for her coming back. Still very young. She's 22. So she's still got plenty of time left in her career to definitely get a title. Very dangerous fighter, the best, young upcoming talents in MMA. Also, then we got Kevin Gastelum and Ian Heinrich on the main card. Pedro Munoz and Jimmy Rivera and Julian Marquez and Maki Pitolo on the main card. Exciting one here on the prelims, Bobby Green and Jim Miller. So this event definitely is, looking to be a good one here. Jillian Robertson and Miranda Maverick, 2, tough, strawweight fighters. So, I mean, these fights are definitely looking good the next couple of weeks. Kind of had a couple week there, about 3 weeks or so with no UFC. And now we got a, handful of events in a row starting to kick back off. That's about all you get for an MMA offseason. That 3 weeks kind of at the beginning of January is kind of the offseason, I guess. Everybody can kind of, start over, get ready for the new year. But now we're back to, events all the time. LFA has an event next week, LFA 99. So they're getting close as well. LFA is a huge, feeder type organization for the UFC. A lot of guys that have been in the UFC have come through LFA at some point in their career. Huge, organization, mostly run out of Texas and in that area. And then at the end of the month, we got UFC Vegas 20. So 3 events this month, this weekend, next weekend, we got a break, and then we'll end off the month there. Got Alexa Davis and Sabina Mazo, Randy Brown and Alex Oliveira, Nikita Krylov's coming back, Alexander Hernandez and Thiago Moises. That'll be a pretty good one too. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now as far as the UFC landscape goes. KFC 58, there was a pretty big stir up after the Euros Dracaris and Shamil Musayev fight. After the fight was over, the big post fight brawl there has kind of started with both sides in the middle of the ring, arguing, and then Euros and Shamil kind of worked their way down to the bottom of the ring because KSW, it's a circle. They kind of worked their way to the bottom of the circle, and Shamil Musayev had his shirt like he was going to put it on, and then Euros must have said something to him, and Shamil grabbed him and like tripped him, like did a trip sweep on him, and they started wailing on each other and stuff. Crazy for the KSW. Normally you don't see that kind of stuff, and pretty action was taken pretty swiftly. I think it was about 2 days later. Martin Lewandowski, who is one of the owners of KSW, came out, and both guys were punished pretty significantly financially. I think one of them was 50%, the other one was 30% of their purse. But it's going to two very young children who are in need of cancer of help with cancer research and things like that. One of the girls is one of their heavyweight fighters whose daughter is very sick with cancer and stuff. So it's going to a good cause. And then all the corner people that were involved, they're not allowed to come to any of the events. They're for like 6 months. One of the guys is the cornerman as a fighter. He's not allowed to fight for like 6 months. So they took some pretty stiff, some pretty stiff punishments on them. FEN, another organization in Poland, Fight Exclusive Night. They have an event coming up too at the end of the month at FEN. And probably their biggest star is Mateusz Rebecki. He is their welterweight champion. Just an amazing talent. He's only lost one fight. It's pretty early in his career. Still learning. Just a dangerous guy. These Poland guys and out that way, the Czech Republic and all these guys, they're just amazing fighters. He's fighting Jose Barrios Vargas from Argentina. He's also 11-1, and Rebecki is 12-1. So it's definitely going to make for an amazing fight there. Where Rebecki is their lightweight champion. He goes back and forth between lightweight and welterweight. A lot of these guys do that over there. That they're not afraid to jump weights if their organization needs them to jump in and take a fight. Mateusz Gamrot was like that. Roberto Soldic is a lot like that, where he'll jump in at any weight, week, 2 weeks out, doesn't matter. These guys are true fighting champions. If they have a belt, they're going to jump in there. They'll defend it even on a week or two notice. It's just a whole different, it's just a different mentality of fighting over there. It's not so much about the money. It's about getting in there and just fighting. So Mateusz Rebecki, he's definitely a name to scout for. He's a young guy, 28. So, he's still got plenty of time to get on the big stage. He's definitely a guy I can see going to the UFC and, does do some more in FEN. I don't really see him going to KSW or Bellator. I think, I can see him going to the UFC and, working his way up through, one of those divisions, lightweight, welterweight, whichever one he feels more comfortable in. Like I said, Roberto Soldic is a lot like that too. He fights more the welterweight side. Rebecki's more on the lightweight side. So both of those guys, both are heavy Polish hitters that, you could see in the UFC, one day. Obviously, I'm a lot more Polish MMA based. So with Daniel gone, I can kind of jump more into it. I don't have anybody to reel me back in from it. So, I can kind of go off on the tangent a little bit on Polish MMA. So kind of take advantage of that. KSW 59 is next month, March 20th. They don't have any bouts yet. Pujanowski is going to be on the card. Anton Racic is going to be on defending his bantamweight title. So you got a couple names on there. They don't have opponents yet, and that's all. Normally there's about 8 or 9 fights on the KSW card. So we don't have anything else yet. A lot of people are saying, Martin Ford's going to be fighting. If you don't know, Martin Ford is a just massively huge individual. Covered in tattoos, the bald head. He's a villain in movies. Literally, that's what where he kind of got famous from. Because they're KSW is talking about having an open weight division, which is real popular in Japanese MMA. They're the open weight. So there could be talks of that in the near future. I could see Ford definitely in an open weight because I don't know how he can make 265. I mean, he's a massive individual. So it would not surprise me. I'll just say it now that if he ended up in the cage with Popek, I could just see it because Popek's been doing a lot of weightlifting and he's massive. I don't see how he could get to heavyweight right now. He looks a lot better. He's not he's taking care of himself as far as how he looks. You can definitely tell, he's done a lot better with his body. If he's still MMA training as hard as he was, that remains to be seen. But he's been doing a lot more weightlifting, so it could be that would be definitely interesting. Have the actor versus the Polish rapper. But yeah, I could see, especially with the open weight class, that's because a lot of the KSW heavyweights are really massive guys. Like these guys are massive, like Pujanowski, and a lot of these guys have to cut pretty much to get to the weight class they want to be, to the heavyweight limit. So with an open class, it kind of gives you a little bit more room there. They can put on more of these shows with a lot of these fighters. But we'll see. The talk with Ford is they're going to wait until they can actually have crowds, because he is definitely a name that's going to draw in a huge crowd for you. Skill wise, I don't think he's going to set the world on fire. I don't see him winning world titles or anything like that. Can he be a strong fighter, and very respectable looking inside a cage? Yeah, absolutely, he can. But he's not going to win any world championships. But he's going to be fun to watch, especially if his striking is on par. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I talked to Yurko Yoon, who is a heavyweight. He's fights out of UFD gym in Dusseldorf, Germany, and he said that's what he's hearing. Also, that's he. I wouldn't be surprised to see him fight Ford too. I could see, if they asked him to, Yurko would absolutely, jump in there and do it. But I think it's going to go more toward Popek, because I think his skill level is going to be more, where Ford is. But if you have not seen Martin Ford, Google him, looking up. It's Martyn. Man, check this guy out. I mean, he's just a beast. So, yeah, we're 30 minutes in. We'll go for another minute or two here, and we'll have just a quick little abbreviated show. Still wanted to give y'all something. Some stuff to take care of. And we all have families, so that definitely comes first here. But we still wanted to jump on here and give you something. And then next week when he's back, we'll get more in depth with things. I feel like I talk to myself when I do it by myself, so having him, it's more like a conversation. So I feel like I'm doing a better job when I got him there, and we can kind of bounce things off each other. So letting y'all know what's coming up right now. Definitely probably the hottest topic right now, is the lightweight conversation in the UFC with the title situation. There's talks that there's reports that GSP and Khabib are in actual official talks. I mean, there's always official talks for a lot of bouts that always fall through. If something happens of it, that remains to be seen. But I mean, it's just those are two names that are gonna, a lot of fighters, like I said, are in serious talks or in official talks. We never hear about it. It's like one of those things we were talking about with some fighters that go pro on the regional scene. They can work out their bumps and bruises along the way. By the time they get to the UFC, they've had 15, fights, 10, 15 fights or whatever. They've really mastered their skills. You don't see their mistakes as much. And then you have guys like Aaron Pico, who are, come from the wrestling scene, get signed by Bellator. And Bellator is kind of big for this. They sign them early. No experience at all. No amateur fights, no pro fights, nothing. 0-0 across the board. And when they take their bumps, we see them on bright lights. And, that's it just brings it more to light. So names like Khabib and GSP, if they're in conversations, we're going to hear about every single one of them. We're not going to hear about every single conversation that the guy number 20 is in the UFC lightweight division is ranked. We're not going to hear all those talks. But certain names, they perk up ears. Everybody reports on it, so we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, like I said before, I think Khabib is done with title fights. I think he's more into what can help him legacy wise. If he even comes back, he may not, but I mean, if he does, I could see it being a GSP or being, a big name like that. I would love to see him with Kamaru Usman. I think that would be an amazing fight. But I still don't even know if that's big enough for him. I think it's really more so, a big picture thing overall for his career, that he can say he beat GSP. Because the thing is always going to be the beginning of his career was, a pretty, easy layout for him. fought a lot of guys with, no fights or very poor records. So topping off with GSP, you can always say, hey, I beat who everyone says is the greats of all time. What's your, how can you refute that? So I think a lot of it is just to, put away any naysayers. So, we'll see. But like I said, that lightweight division is something right now. So we'll go ahead and call a little early today. Normally we do about an hour, but, we'll go with about a 30-minute show today. Still give y'all a little something. Episode 16, we rolling along. We definitely appreciate Blake Ruffino letting us be a part of the AYS family here. Man, the network's grown. There's people, more and more fans every day. Join the Fight Club now. Get in the circle early. The viewership's growing. The comments section is getting busier and busier every week. So, come be a part of the family. Come join the club. And as we say, first rule of the AYS Fight Club, tell all your friends about AYS Fight Club. So make sure you come see us next Friday. Every Friday, 8 p.m. Central. If you got any questions for us, throw them up in the comments. We don't mind jumping off topic. We're very good about, jumping off topic. Just get in there, throw us something you want to talk about. We'll talk about it. Whatever you want. You've heard us. We'll go from UFC to KSW to Bellator to whatever, and all in the same breath. We'll talk about whatever you want. We do talk a lot non-UFC because, everybody talks UFC. So we try to give you things that you're not going to find anywhere else. So, come see us every Friday inside the Fight Club, and, we'll see what goes from there. So until next week, join the Fight Club, tell all your friends about it, share it, let everybody see it, and we'll catch y'all next week.